Runs with Courage, Chapter 12. Home. There were no bells clanging the next morning. Instead, I awoke to the sounds of birds calling on the prairie and the quiet sounds of Mother moving nearby. "Where is Uncle?" I asked, "and Father?" "They met with the elders at the council lodge here," Mother said, handing me a deerskin dress to wear. I took the dress and held it close to my face, feeling its softness against my skin. Eagerly, I slipped it on. "One of the cousins brought these for you." She handed me a pair of moccasins, and I put them on my feet. I wiggled my toes, happy that I could once again wear comfortable foot coverings. "Let's burn this," I said, holding up the dress I had been wearing. "And these," I added, picking up the hard shoes. She looked at me strangely, but followed me outside. We walked some distance from our teepee and cleared a circle for a fire. Several nights of frost had put most of the prairie plants to sleep as they prepared for the upcoming winter moons. Soon the entire prairie would be covered with snow. I had always loved the time of the new snow, when the world would be painted in soft whiteness. We built a fire, and I tossed the clothes and the shoes on the flames, watching with satisfaction as they burned. "There was one boy at school," I said, remembering how I had watched William throw my clothes in the fire. "I forgot to speak of him yesterday," I said. "When I first came to school, the teachers took my clothes and he burned them. I pulled the cord up that held my wota and let it hang outside my dress. And I thought he burned this too, but he saved it from the fire, and he gave it back to me. I thought of his slow walk and his stooped shoulders and the way I had seen him dance in the barn with such grace. Everyone calls this boy slow," I said, "but I don't think he's slow. I think he is just a mystery." "A mystery," Mother repeated. Then she said, "There are other mysteries. Some you will understand and some you will not." I wasn't used to hearing Mother talk this way. "What do you mean?" I asked. "You spoke of bridges and of wondering why the elders would send you to this place." I nodded. "We did not let you go by choice," she said quietly. I stared at her. "What do you mean?" I asked. "When the whites in their wagon came, the agency already told them of our children. You were the right age and female, what they needed for the girls' school. They want to show the Great White Father what they are doing in their schools, and they needed more students." I stared at her. "They told us we must send you, or they would withhold our rations." I felt numb. My being at school had never been about bridges. It had been about food and nothing else. That was how I had helped my Tiospa. I had saved them from starvation. "I should not tell you this." Mother did not look at me. "It would cause Uncle shame. Do you understand?" "Yes, Mother," I said, and I touched her hand. She looked at me, and I saw tears in her eyes. "It is good that I know," I said. Later that day, Uncle and Father returned to our teepee. I waited for them to talk with me and tell me their thoughts on my decision, but without saying anything, they took arrows and bows and left. "Mother, what do you think was decided?" I asked. I hardly kept from running after them and begging to know what had happened in the council lodge. Had I caused shame? Would I be allowed to stay? "We wait, daughter," she said, "until they are ready to speak." "But," I said, and she turned away from me, ending our talk. I helped prepare the evening meal in silence, chopping the few greens that had been dried. Mother took several handfuls of dried corn from the basket and added them to the boiling water. I could hear words echo in my head. "We did not let you go by choice. They told us they would withhold our rations." Soon enough, Father and Uncle returned with a small rabbit. Mother and I prepared the rabbit and added part of it to the stew, preparing the rest to dry. Then we sat and ate as a family. I waited for Father or Uncle to speak, growing more anxious as each moment of silence passed. "And now we talk," Uncle said finally, and I felt my stomach clench with fear. "Your choice to run was difficult," Father began. I nodded. It had been difficult. "But there are reasons behind this running, reasons you explained that we understand." "I couldn't stay. I had to run," I agreed. "Your decision to leave was a wise one," Uncle said. I looked up surprised. "Sometimes you have to stay," he continued, "and sometimes you have to run. It takes courage to know the difference." "Courage?" I repeated, finding my voice. "Courage," Uncle said again. Slowly I realized I was not going to be forced to leave. I had not brought shame to my Tiospa. The elders respected my decision. Later that evening, Bear curled up on his sleeping skins, and I joined him. "This was so special to me, brother," I said, making the small wooden rabbit hop down on one of his legs. "Sister," he asked. "Yes?" "Why did you cut your hair?" He reached out and touched my hair. "I was not given a choice," I answered. His eyes widened. "The whites sound fierce." "They said we're savages," I said, looking down at the bruise on my arm. "I think that they are the savage ones." He nodded, saying nothing more.